The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with activity. Aliens from 100 different worlds sat in their designated spots. They looked strange to human eyes. Some had blue skin, others had tentacles, and a few even floated in the air. At the center of it all stood High Counselor Jae Sung. He was tall and thin, with green skin that shimmered in the light. His 4 eyes blinked as he called the meeting to order. "Esteemed members of the council," Jae Sung said in a clear voice, "we gather today to discuss the trade routes in the Orion Arm. Does anyone wish to speak?" A small furry alien raised its paw. "Yes, Counselor Bako of the Furlings would like to." Suddenly, a loud alarm cut through the air. Red lights flashed all around the room. The aliens looked around in confusion and fear. "What's happening?" shouted Jae Sung. He turned to his aide, a robot named K1. "Report." K1's eyes glowed as it processed information. "High Counselor, a large ship has entered the system. It does not match any known designs in our database." The room erupted in chaos. Aliens shouted, and some even tried to run away. Jae Sung raised his hands, calling for calm. "Everyone, please," he yelled. "We must not panic. K1, show us the ship." A big screen appeared in the middle of the room. On it, they saw a massive black ship. It was long and sleek, with strange markings on its side. As the image zoomed in, they could read the words, "TFS Dauntless." "It can't be," whispered Counselor Yuna, her purple tentacles twisting in worry. "Is that a human ship?" The room went silent. Humans were new to the galactic stage. Most aliens had never seen one, but they had heard stories. Stories of a species that was unpredictable, brave, and sometimes scary. Jae Sung turned to K1 again. "Confirm, is this a human vessel?" K1 blinked. "Affirmative, High Counselor. The design and markings match known human patterns. This appears to be a human battleship." Gasps filled the room. A battleship. Humans had never sent a warship this far into space before. "But why are they here?" asked Counselor Sungmin, his scales changing color with stress. "We haven't invited them. We haven't even talked to them properly yet." Jae Sung looked worried. "I don't know, but we must be careful. Humans are different. They don't always follow the rules we're used to." Just then, K1 spoke up again. "High Counselor, the human ship is hailing us. They wish to communicate." The room erupted in noise again. Some counselors wanted to ignore the call. Others thought they should run away. But Jae Sung knew they had to face this. "Quiet, please," he shouted. When the room calmed down, he continued, "We are the Galactic Council. We represent peace and order in this galaxy. We cannot run from this. We must answer." With a deep breath, Jae Sung nodded to K1. "Put them through." The big screen changed. Now, instead of the ship, they saw a human face. It was a woman with short black hair and determined eyes. She wore a uniform with many badges. "Greetings, Galactic Council," the woman said in a strong voice. "I am Captain Yunji of the Terran Federation ship Dauntless. We come in peace, but with an urgent message. We request an immediate audience with your full council." Jae Sung stepped forward, trying to look calm even though he felt scared inside. "I am High Counselor Jae Sung. Your arrival is unexpected, Captain Yunji. May I ask why you've come with a battleship? It seems rather aggressive." Yunji's face remained serious. "I understand your concern, High Counselor, but the matters we need to discuss are of utmost importance to both humanity and the galactic community. Our ship is merely a precaution. We mean no harm." Jae Sung looked around at the other counselors. They all looked worried and unsure. He knew he had to make a decision. "Very well, Captain," he said at last. "We will grant you an audience, but please understand, your sudden appearance has caused much alarm. We will need assurances of your peaceful intentions." Yunji nodded. "Of course, High Counselor. We're prepared to follow any security measures you deem necessary." We look forward to meeting face to face." As the screen went dark, the council room filled with worried whispers. Jae-sung knew that everything was about to change. The humans had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same again. The grand hall of the Galactic Council was quiet now. All the alien members sat in their seats, waiting. Some looked scared, others curious. High Counselor Jae-sung stood at the center, his green skin a bit paler than usual. The big doors at the end of the hall opened slowly. Everyone held their breath. In walked 3 humans, led by Captain Yeonji. She looked strong and confident in her dark uniform. Behind her came 2 men, also in uniforms but with fewer badges. As they walked to the center of the room, the aliens whispered to each other. Many had never seen a human before. They looked so plain. No tentacles, no scales, no extra arms, just 2 legs, 2 arms, and 1 head. But there was something in their eyes that made the aliens nervous, a spark of something they couldn't name. Jae-sung stepped forward. "Welcome, Captain Yeonji of Earth. We are honored by your visit." He tried to sound calm, but his voice shook a little. Yeonji bowed slightly. "Thank you, High Counselor. We appreciate your willingness to meet with us." Her voice was clear and strong. She didn't seem scared at all. "Please, introduce your companions," Jae-sung said, looking at the 2 men behind Yeonji. "Of course," Yeonji nodded. "This is Commander Jae-ho, my second in command." She pointed to a tall man with short black hair. "And this is Dr. Min-soo, our chief scientist." The other man, shorter with glasses, nodded politely. Jae-sung looked at them all carefully. "Now, Captain, perhaps you can explain why you've come here with a battleship. It's quite unusual." Yeonji took a deep breath. "High Counselor, members of the Galactic Council, we come with an urgent request. Earth wishes to join the Galactic Council." The room exploded with noise. Aliens shouted and argued. Some stood up, waving their arms, or tentacles, in the air. Jae-sung had to shout for quiet. "Please, please, let's remain calm," he said. When the noise died down, he turned back to Yeonji. "Captain, surely you know that Earth is not ready for Council membership. You've barely begun to explore space, and to come here with a warship, it doesn't look good." Yeonji nodded. "We understand how it looks, High Counselor, but we had no choice. We've learned of a great danger coming to this part of the galaxy, a danger that threatens all of us, humans and aliens alike." This made everyone go quiet again. Jae-sung's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "A danger? What kind of danger?" "We call them the Devourers," Yeonji said. Her voice was serious. "They're a species from outside our galaxy. They consume everything in their path. Planets, stars, even whole solar systems." Dr. Min-soo stepped forward. He held up a small device, and suddenly a hologram appeared in the air. It showed strange, dark ships moving through space. As they passed planets, the planets seemed to shrink and disappear. "This is what the Devourers do," Min-soo explained. "They break down matter at the atomic level and use it for energy. Nothing we've seen can stop them." The council members looked scared now. Counselor Yuna, her purple tentacles shaking, asked, "How do you know about this? We've heard nothing about these Devourers." Commander Jae-ho spoke up. "We found an ancient alien outpost on the edge of our solar system. It contained warnings about the Devourers and data on their movements. They're heading this way." Jae-sung looked worried. "If what you say is true, it's very serious. But why come to us? What do you want?" Yeonji stepped forward again. "We need to work together. Humans have developed technologies that might help fight the Devourers, but we need the combined knowledge and resources of the Galactic Council to have a chance." "And that's why you want to join the Council?" Jae-sung asked. "Yes," Yeonji nodded. "We know it's unusual. We know we're young compared to your species, but we don't have time for the usual process. The Devourers will be here within 5 years. The council room was silent. Everyone looked at each other, then at the humans. Jae-sung seemed lost in thought. Finally, he spoke. "This is a lot to take in, Captain. We'll need time to discuss and verify your information." Yun-ji nodded. "We understand. But please, don't take too long. Every day counts." As the human delegation left the room, the council burst into argument again. Jae-sung watched the humans go, wondering if this was the beginning of a new era, or the start of something terrible. After the humans left, the Galactic Council room was noisy. Everyone was talking at once. Some aliens looked scared, others angry. High Counselor Jae-sung had to shout to be heard. "Quiet, please," he said. His green skin was shining with sweat. "We need to talk about this calmly." Slowly, the room got quiet. Jae-sung looked around at all the alien faces. "Now, what do we think about the humans' request?" Counselor Sung-min stood up. His scales were a dark red color, showing he was upset. "We can't trust them," he said. "Humans are dangerous. Remember what happened on planet Zar." Many aliens nodded. They all knew the story. Humans had visited planet Zar a year ago. They were supposed to be peaceful, but there was a fight. Many Zarians got hurt. "Sung-min is right," said another alien. "This one had 6 eyes and blue fur. Humans are too violent. We can't let them join the council." But then Counselor Yuna spoke up. Her purple tentacles waved gently as she talked. "Wait," she said. "Maybe we should listen to them. The Devourers sound very dangerous." "How do we know the Devourers are real?" Sung-min asked. "Maybe the humans made them up." Jae-sung shook his head. "No, I don't think so." "K1, show us the human ship again." The big screen lit up, showing the human battleship. It was huge and black, with many big guns. "Look at their ship," Jae-sung said. "It's very powerful. If humans wanted to fight us, they could have. But they didn't. They came to talk." The room was quiet for a moment. Then an alien with long arms and green skin spoke. "I knew some humans once," he said. "They were strange, but not bad. Maybe we should give them a chance." Sung-min wasn't happy. "But they're so young. Their species has only been in space for a short time. How can they join us?" Yuna's tentacles curled thoughtfully. "Maybe that's good," she said. "They might have new ideas, fresh ways of thinking." As they talked, Jae-sung remembered something. He turned to K1, the robot helper. "K1, show us the records of human space battles." The screen changed. Now it showed humans fighting in space. Their ships moved in strange ways. They used tricks that the aliens had never seen before. "Look," Jae-sung said. "Humans are good at fighting. If the Devourers are real, we might need that." The council members watched the screen. They saw humans winning battles against bigger ships. They saw clever tricks and brave actions. "Impressive," said one alien with a big head. "But still, can we trust them?" Jae-sung thought for a moment. "Maybe we don't have to trust them fully," he said. "We could let them join the council for now, just until we know more about the Devourers." This idea made many aliens nod. It seemed like a good compromise. But Sung-min wasn't done. "What if it's a trick?" he asked. "What if they're lying about the Devourers to get our secrets?" Yuna spoke up again. "Then we'll find out," she said. "And if they're lying, we can kick them out. But if they're telling the truth and we don't listen, we could all be in big trouble." The room was quiet again. Everyone was thinking hard. Finally, Jae-sung spoke. "Here's what we'll do," he said. "We'll tell the humans they can join the council, but only for now. We'll watch them closely, and we'll send ships to check if the Devourers are real." He looked around the room. "Does everyone agree?" Slowly, the aliens started to nod. Even Sung-min, though he didn't look happy about it. "Good," said Jae-sung. "Then let's call the humans back. It's time to give them our answer." As K1 went to get Captain Eun-ji and her team, The council members looked at each other nervously. They all knew that things were about to change. The galaxy would never be the same again. While the Galactic Council was talking, Captain Yunji and her team went back to their ship, the Dauntless. The ship was big and strong, but inside it felt like home to the humans. Yunji walked onto the bridge. It was a large room with many screens and buttons. People were working at different stations, making sure the ship was running well. "How did it go, Captain?" asked Lina, the ship's pilot. She was sitting in a big chair, watching the stars through the front window. Yunji sat down in her captain's chair. "They listened," she said. "Now we wait." Commander Jaho stood next to Yunji. "Do you think they believed us about the Devourers?" he asked. Yunji looked worried. "I'm not sure. They seemed scared, but also doubtful." Just then, Dr. Minsu came onto the bridge. He was carrying a tablet computer. "Captain," he said, "I've been looking at the data from the alien outpost again. The Devourers are moving faster than we thought." Yunji stood up quickly. "How much faster?" Minsu showed her the tablet. On it were lots of numbers and a map of the galaxy. "They might be here in 4 years, not 5, he said. The bridge got very quiet. Everyone looked worried. "We need to tell the council," Jaiho said. But Yunji shook her head. "Not yet. If we tell them now, they might think we're lying to scare them." "So what do we do?" Lina asked from her pilot's seat. Yunji thought for a moment. "We stick to the plan. We join the council first. Then we show them all our data." Jiho nodded. "It's risky, but you're right. We need them to trust us first." Just then, a young officer named Taiyang spoke up. "Captain, what if they say no? What if they don't let us join?" Yunji looked at him. She could see he was scared. She remembered that Taiyang was only 20 years old. This was his first big space mission. "Then we'll find another way," Yunji said firmly. "Humanity has always been good at beating the odds." Minsu smiled a little. "That's true. Remember the Battle of Alpha Centauri?" Everyone on the bridge nodded. It was a famous story. 3 human ships had fought off a whole fleet of space pirates. They won by using clever tricks and brave flying. "We can do this," Yunji said. "We have to. The whole galaxy is counting on us, even if they don't know it yet." Just then, a light started blinking on one of the screens. "Captain," said Lina, "the council is calling us back." Yunji took a deep breath. "This is it," she said. "Jaiho, Minsu, you're with me. The rest of you, stay alert. We don't know how this will go." As they left the bridge, Yunji stopped and looked back at her crew. They all looked nervous but determined. She felt proud of them. "Whatever happens," she said, "remember why we're here. We're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every living thing in the galaxy." The crew nodded. They understood how big this was. Yunji, Jaiho, and Minsu walked off the ship and back towards the council chamber. As they walked, Yunji thought about Earth. She thought about her family, her friends, and all the people counting on her. "We can do this," she whispered to herself. "We have to." They'd reached the big doors of the council chamber. Yunji straightened her uniform and stood tall. "Ready?" she asked her team. Jaiho and Minsu nodded. Yunji took one last deep breath. Then she pushed open the doors, ready to face whatever the council had decided. Captain Yunji, Commander Jaiho, and Dr. Minsu walked into the council chamber. The room was very quiet. All the alien eyes were on them. High Counselor Jae-sung stood up. His green skin looked a bit pale. "Captain Yunji," he said, "we have made a decision." Yunji stood straight and tall. "We're ready to hear it, High Counselor." Jae-sung took a deep breath. "We will allow humans to join the Galactic Council," he said, "but only for now. We need to check if what you say about the Devourers is true." Yunji nodded. She felt relieved, But she knew this was just the start. Suddenly, Counselor Sungmin jumped up. His scales were bright red. "This is a mistake," he shouted. "Humans can't be trusted." The room got noisy. Many aliens started talking at once. Some agreed with Sungmin, others didn't. Jae-sung tried to calm everyone down. "Please," he said, "we've made our decision." But Sungmin wasn't done. He pointed at the humans. "Look at them," he said. "They're warlike. They'll bring fighting to our peaceful galaxy." Jiho stepped forward. He looked angry. "We're not here to fight," he said. "We're here to help." Sungmin laughed. It wasn't a nice laugh. "Help? Is that why you brought a big warship?" The room got even noisier. Yeonji could see that things were getting bad. She had to do something. "Quiet," she shouted. Her voice was so loud that everyone stopped talking. Yeonji walked to the center of the room. She looked at all the aliens. "Yes, we brought a warship," she said, "because we're facing a war. The Devourers don't care if you're peaceful. They'll eat your planets anyway." The room was very quiet now. All the aliens were listening. "We humans know we're young," Yeonji continued. "We know we make mistakes, but we also know how to fight. And right now, that's what the galaxy needs." Dr. Min-soo stepped forward. He held up his tablet. "We have proof of the Devourers," he said. "Let us show you." But before he could do anything, Sungmin ran forward. He tried to grab the tablet. "No," he yelled. "It's a trick." Everything happened very fast. Sungmin pushed Min-soo. The tablet fell. Jiho moved to help Min-soo. But his foot hit the tablet, and it slid across the floor. The tablet hit a big machine in the corner of the room. Suddenly, there was a loud noise. The machine started to spark. "Oh no," said Jae-sung. "That's the gravity control." The room started to shake. Things began to float in the air. The aliens looked scared. Many of them couldn't move in zero gravity. Yeonji looked at Jiho and Min-soo. They nodded. They knew what to do. Quickly, the humans pushed off the floor. They floated towards the broken machine. Yeonji pulled out a small tool from her pocket. "What are you doing?" Jae-sung asked. He was holding onto his chair to stay in place. "Fixing it," Yeonji said. She opened a panel on the machine. Inside, she could see wires and strange alien tech. Min-soo looked at it. "It's not too different from our systems," he said. "I think I can. Yes, there." He pointed to a broken part. Jiho pulled out a small device from his uniform. "This might work," he said. Together, the three humans worked on the machine. The aliens watched in surprise. They didn't expect humans to understand their technology. After a few minutes, there was a hum. The gravity came back slowly. Everything and everyone floated back to the floor. Yeonji stood up and looked at the council. "We didn't come here to fight," she said. "We came here to help, to work together. Isn't that what your council is all about?" The aliens looked at each other. Many of them seemed embarrassed. Even Sungmin looked sorry. Jae-sung stepped forward. "You're right, Captain," he said. "Perhaps we judged you too quickly. Thank you for your help." Yeonji nodded. "Now," she said, "can we talk about the real problem? The Devourers are coming. We need to be ready." Jae-sung looked around the room. All the council members nodded. "Yes," he said. "Let's talk." The council room was quiet. Everyone was looking at the big screen. Dr. Min-soo was showing the data about the Devourers. "As you can see," Min-soo said, "the Devourers are moving through the galaxy very fast. They eat everything in their path." The aliens looked worried. They saw pictures of planets disappearing. Whole star systems were going dark. "How do we stop them?" asked Counselor Yuna. Her purple tentacles were shaking. Captain Yeonji stepped forward. "We have some ideas," she said, "but we'll need help from all of you." Just then, a loud alarm started ringing. Red lights flashed all around the room. "What's happening?" shouted Jae-sung. K1, the robot helper, spoke up. High Counselor, a large fleet of unknown ships has entered the system. They do not match any known designs. Everyone looked scared. Yunji's face went pale. It can't be, she said. They're not supposed to be here yet. The Devourers? Asked Jae-sung. His voice was shaking. Yunji nodded. I think so. They're early. The room exploded with noise. Aliens were shouting and running around. Some were crying. Quiet, shouted Unji. Everyone stopped and looked at her. Panicking won't help. We need to work together. Jae-sung nodded. She's right. What do we do, Captain? Unji thought fast. We need to evacuate the station. Get everyone to safety. But where? Asked Sungmin. He looked sorry for causing trouble earlier. The Dauntless, said Yunji. Our ship. It's big enough and has strong shields. Jae-sung looked unsure. But it's a warship. Won't it attract the Devourers? Commander Jae-ho spoke up. That's the point. We can draw them away from the station. The aliens looked at each other. They were scared, but they saw that the humans had a plan. Okay, said Jae-sung. Let's do it. Everyone started moving. The humans helped the aliens get to the Dauntless. Some aliens had never been on a human ship before. They looked around with big eyes. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Yunji took charge. Lina, she said to the pilot, get us away from the station. Slowly. We want the Devourers to follow us. Lina nodded and started flying the ship. On the big screen, they could see the Devourer ships. They were black and looked like big, hungry mouths. They're following us, said Jae-ho. But what do we do now? We can't fight them all. Yunji looked at the aliens. We need your help, she said. Do any of you know about weapons that might work against the Devourers? The aliens looked at each other. Then Yuna spoke up. There's an old legend, she said, about a weapon that could destroy anything. But it's just a story. Where is this weapon supposed to be? Asked Min-soo. Yuna's tentacles wiggled. In the dead zone, a place where no ships can go. The energy there destroys everything. Yunji thought for a moment. Then she smiled. That's it, she said. We don't need the weapon. We need the dead zone. Everyone looked confused. What do you mean? Asked Jae-sung. We lead the Devourers into the dead zone, said Yunji. The energy there will destroy them. But it will destroy us too, said Sungmin. Yunji shook her head. Not if we modify our shields. Min-soo, can you do it? Min-soo thought for a moment. Maybe, he said. But I'll need help. You'll have it, said Jae-sung. He turned to the other aliens. Who here knows about energy shields? Several aliens raised their hands, or tentacles. Good, said Jae-sung. Help Dr. Min-soo. The rest of us will help the crew run the ship. Everyone got to work. Aliens and humans worked side by side. They were still scared, but now they had hope. As they flew towards the dead zone, with the Devourers close behind, Yunji looked around the bridge. She saw aliens and humans working together. She saw fear turned into bravery. This is what we came for, she thought. Not just to save the galaxy, but to be part of it. The Dauntless flew on, carrying the hopes of every living thing in the galaxy. The Dauntless flew towards the dead zone. Behind it, the Devourer ships followed like hungry wolves. On the bridge, humans and aliens worked together. We're almost there, said Lina, the pilot. Her hands moved fast over the controls. Captain, Yunji nodded. How are the shields, Min-soo? Dr. Min-soo looked up from his work. Alien helpers were all around him. We think they're ready, he said, but we're not sure. This has never been done before. Yunji took a deep breath. It has to work, she said, for all of us. Suddenly, the ship started to shake. Outside the windows, space looked strange. It was full of bright colors and energy. "We've entered the dead zone," said Commander Jio. Everyone held on tight. The ship shook more. Alarms started to sound. "Shields are holding," said Minsu, "but they're getting weaker." Yunjai looked at the screen. The Devourer ships were right behind them. "Just a little longer," she said. Then something amazing happened. The first Devourer ship entered the dead zone. As soon as it did, it started to break apart. The energy was too strong for it. "It's working," shouted Jae-sung. His green skin was shining with excitement. One by one, the Devourer ships entered the dead zone, and one by one, they were destroyed. But the Dauntless was getting weaker too. "Shields at 20%, said Minsu. He looked worried. "We need to get out of here," said Jio. Yunji nodded. "Lina, turn us around. Full speed ahead." Lina's hands flew over the controls. The ship turned and started to fly out of the dead zone, but it was moving slowly. "The energy is affecting our engines," said Jio. Everyone watched the screens. The shields were getting weaker. The ship was slowing down. It looked like they might not make it. Then Counselor Yuma had an idea. "What if we all think together?" She said. "My people can share energy with our minds. Maybe if we all try, we can help the ship." Yunjai looked surprised, but she nodded. "It's worth a try, everyone. Focus on the ship. Think about moving forward, getting to safety." All the aliens and humans on the bridge closed their eyes. They thought hard about the ship flying to safety. At first, nothing happened. But then, slowly, the ship started to move faster. The engines got stronger. The shields held on. "It's working," shouted Lina. "We're almost out." With one final push, the Dauntless flew out of the dead zone. Behind them, the last of the Devourer ships was destroyed. Everyone cheered. Aliens hugged humans. Humans hugged aliens. They had done it. They had saved the galaxy. Later, back at the council station, there was a big meeting. Yunji and her crew stood in front of the whole Galactic Council. Jae-sung spoke. "Captain Yunji, humans of Earth, you have saved us all. We were wrong to doubt you. From this day forward, Earth is a full member of the Galactic Council." The room erupted in cheers. Yunji smiled. "Thank you, High Counselor. We're honored to join you. But remember, we didn't do this alone. We all worked together. That's the real victory here." Jae-sung nodded. "You're right. We've learned an important lesson. We are stronger together than apart." Sung-min stepped forward. He looked at Eunji. "I was wrong about humans," he said. "You are brave and clever. I'm glad you're joining us." Eunji shook his hand, carefully, because of his scales. "Thank you," she said. "We had a lot to learn from you too." As the celebration continued, Yunjai looked around the room. She saw humans and aliens talking, laughing, and sharing stories. It was a new beginning for everyone. "This is just the start," she thought. "Who knows what we can do together?" Outside the station, stars twinkled in the darkness of space. The galaxy was safe, and a new era had begun. Humans were now part of something much bigger than themselves, and the adventure was just beginning.